Welcome back to the channel, everybody, for today's acting insight, which is centered around the term dialing it back. I'm using air quotes there because dialing it back is an industry-friendly term because it's a much nicer way of telling another actor, hey, could you stop overacting? Thanks. This is something I still struggle with to this day because I am constantly having to remind myself when it comes to television and film, less is always more. You see, if you're like me, dialing it back is always going to be a hurdle because we just have a naturally high energy personality. It doesn't take much to get us revved up or excited, right? Like one story that comes to mind about this, it's a prime example of getting too excited in the industry, is when I was starting stand-up comedy. I was still in my first year and a fellow comedian by the name of Rob Pierce was getting ready to bring me up on stage at the Comedy Connection in East Providence. I can hear Rob say to the crowd, you guys are gonna love this next comedian. He's new to the craft, but he is just a ball of energy. Well, when my excitable brain heard the words ball of energy, I immediately thought like, well, we gotta hit that stage hot, baby. Let's go.
Well, then I get all excited. I'm like JoJo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet.
I give myself a little bit of a running start from off to the side of the stage, and I go to try and jump and clear the 3 steps that were used to step onto stage. Well, I kind of miscalculated. I caught the 3rd step, tripped, and face planted onto the stage. Now, thankfully, my energy did play it off well, and I still had a good set. However, my pride still really hasn't recovered from that night. Now, I can't speak for you. I don't know your training or background, but when you come from the worlds of pro wrestling, stand-up comedy, and live theater, we are always taught to go big. The back row should hear you just as much as the front row, right? And though that may be true in some arenas, but when the camera is involved, not so much. So a good example of this would be a very recent story. You see, at the end of 2024, I was auditioning for a lot of procedurals. Therefore, I was going back and forth a lot to New York to work with my coach. After each take, my coach would be sitting there, just no read on him at all, and he'd just be like, yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Let's go again. Let's go again. And just dial it back a little, okay? We go again. I finish my read. I look at my coach, and he's, yeah, no, good. That's good. It's better. That was better. Well, let's go again, and let's dial it back again. Do even less. I finish my read. My coach is sitting there. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there, but let's go again. Let's go again. This time, I want you to do even less. So now at this point, I look at my coach, and I'm like, do you want me to just do a read deadpan? You want to just do that? He goes, yeah. Do deadpan. Let's see what that looks like. Do that. So I go again, just completely deadpan. I've got no expression. I feel like I'm doing nothing. We finish the read. My coach looks me dead in the eye. He goes, that's what you submit. That was your best read. How'd you feel about that one? And I was completely honest. I said, I don't feel good about it. That doesn't feel like I was doing anything. And he looks me dead in the eye and he goes, you know, a lot of the times when we think that we're doing some of our worst work, we're actually doing some of our best. And as I was leaving the studio that night, I was reminded of this little tidbit from a workshop that Sir Michael Caine did. Check this out.
It was his first movie, and he come from Broadway, theatre, and he kept doing it. Scene, George would say, cut, less, Jack, less. Jack would do it again. George, cut, less, less. Again, cut, less. And Jack finally said, look, if I do any less, I'll be doing nothing. And George said, now you've got it.
Is the exact same scenario. Now, if that little clip I just shared is new to you, I'm gonna put a link down in the description to the full 1-hour class. That actor's class with Sir Michael Caine is arguably one of the best pieces of free content for actors on the internet. Less will always be more when it comes to television and film, but that raises the question, well, how do you know when to do less or to do more? I hate to sound cliche here, but this is where we let the script be our guide. I'm sorry. I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit for how corny that was. As actors, we have been trained to always find the driving force behind a character's decisions and actions. We've always had to feel like we need to be grounded in the character so it all feels real and true. Now, that might be true in some roles, but sometimes truck driver is just the truck driver. Sometimes hostess 2 is just hostess 2. Now, though important roles to us working actor, I mean, hell, these roles help us keep the lights on, am I right? But the biggest reason they are giving names like Hostess 2 instead of like Tiffany, for example, is because their driving force is just to keep the scene moving. That's it. Truck driver or Hostess 2 are only existing in this world so they can get the main character from point A of the scene to point B of the scene. That's their driving force. There's no need to make it any bigger than that. Just say the words. On that note, if you struggle with that aspect of just say the words, again, there'll be another link down in the description to an acting challenge that will help you get over over that hump. Now, these tips and advice that I'm sharing with you are not a guarantee that you're gonna go and get the work. I will never say that because that's an insane thing to say in the acting industry. Anyone who says crazy shit like that is either delusional, full of shit, or some weird combination of those two things. All I can say about the tips and advice I share is that these are the exact things that helped me grow as an actor and get into way more audition rooms than I ever did before knowing them. So if you'd like to know more about this type of stuff, you technically got 3 options from here. 1, you can purchase my ebook, which I'll link down in the description, that has all of this information in full detail. 2, you can work with me directly one-on-one, to which anybody who works with me gets my book for free. Or 3, you can simply hit that subscribe button and follow along here at the channel as I share all these tips and advice for free. I guess there is technically a 4th option where you could do all 3 of those things, but that's being a little pushy for someone who doesn't even have 1,000 subs. I'm sorry, I made myself laugh with that one. You gotta shit on yourself every once in a while. But either way, I hope today's insight was a good one for you younger actors out there. So until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on set.